All right, let's talk about something that is all over the SAT, ratios and percentages. Seriously, they're everywhere. And you know what? They're one of the top places students lose what should be easy points. So today, we're going to build the playbook that turns these tricky questions into your biggest advantage.
This right here, this is the fundamental question the SAT is asking with every single one of these problems. It's not about whether you can do the calculation. I mean, come on, anyone can punch numbers into a calculator. It's about whether you can truly understand what's actually being asked.
You have to understand, the test is designed to bet against you. It's betting that under pressure with the clock ticking, you're going to make a simple mistake. This explainer? This is your strategy guide to call their bluff and prove them wrong, every single time. To beat the test, you have to understand its game plan. So let's pull back the curtain and see why the SAT loves to weaponize what looks like simple math.
So, what is the SAT really testing here? It's not your ability to divide two numbers, that's for sure. It's a test of how you think, how carefully you read, and yeah, how you perform when you feel that pressure.
Here's what's really going on. They're testing your reading precision. Can you spot the key word? They're testing your unit awareness. Are you talking about dollars or cents, miles or hours? They're testing your common sense under pressure, and, maybe most of all, your ability to just not panic. They know students confuse of and to, or forget what the total really is in a problem. That's the whole game.
Okay, now let's expose these traps for what they are. We're going to look at the exact tricks the SAT uses to trip you up. These are the spots where scores quietly die without you even realizing it.
Okay, listen up. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. This is the #1 offender, the single most common, most deadly trap on the entire test when it comes to ratios. Getting this right is absolutely non-negotiable for a top score.
So let's break this down, because it's so important. If the ratio of boys to girls is 3:2, that's a part-to-part comparison. Simple. But if the question asks for the fraction of students that are boys, it's asking for part to whole, and you have to create that whole yourself by adding the parts. 3 plus 2 equals 5. So the answer is 3/5. The SAT is just sitting there, waiting for you to write down 3/2. Don't fall for it.
All right, on to the next big trap, percent change. The formula looks easy enough, right? It's just the change in value divided by the original value. But the danger isn't in the formula itself. Oh no. The whole game comes down to this one word, original. The denominator is always the starting value. Not the new one, not the bigger one, the one you started with. The SAT just loves to give you a new number that feels right, and it absolutely punishes anyone who slips up here. This is where brains just short-circuit under pressure.
Okay, enough doom and gloom about all the traps. Let's talk about how to fight back. This is your toolkit, your counter moves for neutralizing these tricks and turning them into the easy points they're supposed to be.
First tool in the toolkit, proportions. This is the SAT's favorite setup. Why? Because it looks a little complicated, but it's purely mechanical. When you see two equal ratios like this, you don't have to think, you just act. Cross-multiply, solve for x, and you're done. Move on. Don't let the question live rent-free in your head by hesitating. Now for the SAT's favorite party trick, the reverse percent problem. They give you the final price after a discount. The panic move, the trap move, is to find 20% of 80. That's wrong. The smart move is to stop and think. Wait, if it's a 20% discount, then $80 is 80% of whatever the original price was. Then you just set up the algebra. 0.8 times x equals 80. Solve for x, boom, you win. And here's a secret weapon for when things get messy, unit rates. When a problem throws a bunch of chaotic numbers at you, like, say, $15 for 5 pens, your first move should always be to find the rate for 1 unit. In this case, that's $3 per pen. It just simplifies the chaos and makes the right comparison, whether it's cost per item or kilometers per hour, immediately obvious.
All right, let's pull back the curtain on the SAT's final disguise, because a lot of the time, these ratio and percentage questions aren't even really math problems. They're reading comprehension questions hiding in plain sight.
You are going to see tables just like this one, guaranteed. And just look at it. The math is a joke, right? It's literally just addition. The danger here isn't in the calculation, it's in correctly reading what the question is asking you to pull from the table.
So where do things go wrong? It's all in the reading. You read the wrong row. You use the wrong total for your fraction, like using the grand total of 80 when the question was only asking about juniors, where the total is 40. You can do the most beautiful math in the world, but if you're answering the wrong question, it's worth 0 points. Remember, the SAT isn't in a rush, students are.
Okay, last section. This is all about winning the mental game.
Because this stuff isn't just about math skills. It's about having the right strategic awareness before you even pick up your pencil.
You need to know this. These questions are designed to be fast. They're what we call time bank questions. You solve them quickly, you bank that extra time for the harder problems later. So, if a ratio or percent question is taking you longer than, say, 30 to 60 seconds, that's a huge red flag. It's a signal that you've probably fallen into a trap and you need to stop and reread the question.
And you've got two major tools in your arsenal here. For sure, use the Desmos calculator for speed and accuracy. But don't turn your brain off. Use estimation as a sanity check. If the answer choices are super far apart, like 5%, 15%, and 50%, a quick common sense check will often point you to the right answer before you even finish the exact calculation.
So before you bubble in that answer, just run through this quick mental checklist. Did I find the right hole for my fraction? Am I paying attention to the units? Am I setting up my proportions with confidence? And, the most important one, does my answer even make sense in the real world? This is how you go from just doing math to having real strategic awareness. And you know what? Once you get this down, once this awareness becomes second nature, something incredible happens. These questions stop being scary. They stop being traps. They become what they're supposed to be all along. Free points just wrapped in a few tricky words. And stacking up those free points, well, that's how you master the SAT.